case closed.
But you see, our current judicial system.
You don't want to drink it. About a tea. Oh, this is Mr. T.
Welcome to Kentucky.
Thank you, sir. You're the preacher.
That's right. Like I say, they don't talk much. People keep pretty much.
Contest at the street fair Saturday night, Mr. Taggart. Patsy and I are good.
You know, a lot of folks don't appreciate a fella like you coming up
You
here.
mean someone might get hurt?
You can.
Hey, boy, what are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing here, pretty boy?
You got a pretty mouth, boy. Sunday stroll, I guess maybe, is not. Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Taggart, but your people get hurt and you're always around. Assault and battery.
The story opens with the shocking deaths of 2 federal agents. Soon after, a third agent, who had been investigating environmental pollution in Jackson County, Kentucky, is also found dead. His car is discovered crashed deep in the woods, and his body shows 3 stab wounds, with a beer bottle oddly placed nearby. Despite the suspicious scene, local authorities dismiss it as a tragic accident. Because of the strange circumstances, the FBI sends in Jack Taggart to uncover the truth. Jack travels to Jackson County, especially determined to understand what happened to the third agent, who was also his close friend. Once he arrives, he meets the town's priest, who sheds light on the situation. He explains that toxic waste is being illegally dumped into abandoned mines, contaminating the land and water. The townspeople are aware of it, but they stay silent out of fear, as their livelihoods depend on the mining company. Realizing he won't get far as an outsider, Jack decides to go undercover. He takes shelter in the church basement and poses as a volunteer carpenter. Blending in as a simple handyman, he begins quietly gathering information. While repairing a porch for a local family, he learns their young son is seriously ill. The boy's father reveals that the sickness is linked to chemical contamination in the river. This pushes Jack to investigate further. He collects water samples near the mines, but during his search, he stumbles across a hidden marijuana field. The growers confront him, but Jack quickly takes them all down and walks away, uninterested in making arrests. The next day, a representative from the mining company spots Jack at church and immediately grows suspicious. That night, thugs break into Jack's room and leave 2 rattlesnakes as a warning. Unfazed, Jack captures the snakes and secretly places them in the attacker's truck, causing them to crash the next morning. Later, the same men try to intimidate him again, sitting on his car and demanding he leave town. This time, Jack brutally beats them down. When the sheriff attempts to arrest him, the priest steps in and defends Jack, forcing the sheriff to back off. At the church, Jack meets Sarah, a young woman shunned by the town after being accused, but never convicted, of killing her father. Ignoring the warnings, Jack befriends her. He later helps repair her porch, but her brother Earl returns home, acting hostile and clearly threatened by Jack's presence. The following day, Jack gives a ride to an elderly man who reveals he was the anonymous whistleblower who alerted the Environmental Protection Agency. He explains that the Hanner Coal Company has been dumping toxic waste into an abandoned mine shaft and bribing officials to stay quiet. The man is willing to testify, but shortly after Jack drops him off, he is brutally attacked. Jack later finds him severely injured and rushes him to the hospital. Outside, the corrupt sheriff and his deputies confront Jack again, trying to arrest him. Even when Jack claims to be a federal agent, they refuse to believe him. Jack disarms them with ease, returns the sheriff's weapon, and warns them to stay out of his way. That night, Jack attends a country concert. When Hanner's arrogant son harasses Sarah, Jack steps in to protect her. Hanner witnesses the incident, but chooses to ignore his son's behavior. Instead, He tries to bribe Jack into dropping the investigation. Jack refuses and warns him that if he's connected to his friend's death, he'll pay for it. In response, Hanner orders his son to eliminate Jack. The next day, a mining company truck attempts to run Jack off the road. Jack survives, but the driver dies when the truck plunges off a cliff. Meanwhile, the priest reveals a dark truth. Earl had murdered his own father after the man discovered he was abusing Sarah. That night, Earl, now working for Hanner, sets the church on fire, killing the priest to stop Jack from uncovering more. Pretending to switch sides, Earl convinces Jack to follow him to the mines, claiming he wants to expose Hanner. Instead, it's a trap. Hanner's son and a group of mercenaries ambush Jack, leading to a fierce shootout. As the mine begins to collapse, Jack manages to escape while Earl and several others are killed. With enough evidence gathered and Sarah ready to testify, Jack calls the FBI for protection. However, the agents who arrive are corrupt. Realizing this, Jack chases them down and corners them at a gas station. He kills one and spares the other, sending him back to Hanner with a warning. Soon after, Jack discovers that his own supervisor is also involved in the corruption. The supervisor advises Hanner to surrender as a formality. When Hanner turns himself in, he receives only minor penalties for environmental violations. Jack makes it clear that the murder charges are far from over. Determined to finish the job, Jack exposes and arrests his corrupt supervisor. He then returns to Jackson County and confronts Hanner's son and his crew in a bar, defeating them in a brutal fight. Finally, Hanner Jr. agrees to testify against his father in exchange for leniency. Jack tracks Hanner down to a casino. After taking out the guards, he confronts him directly. Realizing the consequences he faces, Hanner pulls a gun, but Jack shoots him in the shoulder and has him arrested. In the end, justice is served. Jack returns to Kentucky and reunites with Sarah, bringing the story to a close.